Informative speech take two. Now I have 7 people. My brother, my mother, the Stalker family, which is comprised of 3 people, my dad, and once again, I'm pointing the wrong way, Stephanie. 3, 2, 1, go. Today I will be talking about one of the most controversial people in human history. This person is none other than Jesus Christ. While there are just a multitude of beliefs concerning Jesus Christ and who he is and who he claimed to be, today I simply wish to let Jesus speak for himself. In other words, according to Jesus himself, who did he claim to be? With that said, today we look at the historical eyewitness account of the life and the death of Jesus. Specifically, the historical account written by a man named John the Apostle. This historical account is also known as the Gospel according to John. In the 7th to 10th chapter of John's historical account, he records for us a situation, which is to say the least, one of much tension. This time is 2,000 years ago. The occasion is a Jewish festival called the Feast of Booths, and the controversy is concerning the person of Jesus Christ. In response to Jesus' works and his teachings, especially his teachings here, there is just this incredible amount of dispute. A dispute existing among the Jewish people and the religious leaders of that time called the Pharisees. This dispute being over who Jesus is and who exactly he claims to be. In chapter 8, verse 58 of this account, we find one of Jesus' most controversial claims, if not maybe the most controversial. This claim just pours gasoline on the fire of this conflict. He says in verse 58, "Truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am." And so while time does not permit me to give a proper context and background of what led Jesus to say this, today we will simply look at what Jesus meant by this statement, and then how the Jews responded when they heard it. Jesus said, "Before Abraham was, I am." Now what made this statement so controversial here was that this man Abraham lived over 1,500 years before Jesus. Over 1,500 years. And yet Jesus says, "Before Abraham was, I am." But Jesus isn't just talking from thin air here. He's actually referencing the second book of the Bible, the book of Exodus. It is in the book of Exodus where the nation Israel is seen in captivity or slavery under the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And so God just raises up this man named Moses and tells him to go to Pharaoh and to command him to let God's people go. Moses, in response to this command from God, asked God a question. Moses asked God for his name. God, in what is just a gracious response, says, "I am who I am." And if you read Hebrew, which is the language the book of Exodus is written in, you would read it this way: "I am Yahweh." You see, Yahweh is a covenantal name of God that God uses to distinguish himself from all the false gods of the nations. It is the name he uses to distinguish himself as the one true God who is forever faithful to his people. So when we read Jesus saying, "Before Abraham, I am," what Jesus is actually saying is that he is Yahweh. What he's actually claiming is deity. So why is there just such a fiery response from the Jewish people and the Pharisees? You see, under Old Testament law, when a man claimed deity or to be God, that man was stoned to death for blasphemy. And this is exactly what the Jewish people attempt to do when they hear this. Back in John chapter 8, verse 59, it says, "So they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus hid himself and went out of the temple." You see, the Jewish people that heard this understood that Jesus is claiming to be God himself. This is why in John 10, verse 33, they say to Jesus, "It is not for a good work that we stone you, but for blasphemy, because you, being a man, make yourself out to be God." And so while there are just multitudes of beliefs and opinions as to who Jesus is and who he claimed to be, the fact is, according to eyewitness historical account, Jesus claimed to be God. So when you come across the person of Jesus Christ, and you decide for yourself what you will believe about him, may you remember this historical account, according to John, where Jesus himself claims to be your creator. May you remember this so that when you make a decision as to what you will believe, that you make a wise one. A wise decision that takes Jesus' own words into account.